How to change your paradigm. This video discussion is built on the foundation of the last two videos. Number one was the 21-day mental diet. The video was created to maintain a certain state of mind or to evolve our perspectives based on whatever shows up in the outer world, to bring it more into conscious alignment with what we desire to create. In other words, harmonizing the conscious and subconscious minds. In the last video, I got a little deeper into it, in which I talk about conscious rejuvenation and conscious reflection as contribution to evolving the connection or the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. Our goal in this video is to discuss this concept called paradigm and to further bring us into conscious and subconscious harmony. Here's the key reflection points that we're going to really discuss to a certain degree and then further discuss all throughout this video. What you're going to notice is that I've been discussing these same concepts from many different perspectives and many different nuanced slants because it is one of the causative factors of evolving the paradigm to bring it more into alignment with what you desire to create. So a paradigm is a mental framework containing all that you have subconsciously accepted to be true about yourself and reality, which automatically externalizes as your reality experience. Okay, keywords, subconsciously accepted. And upon the journey of cause and effect reflection, outer world effect and inner world cause, we have a greater degree of understanding of aspects of our subconscious that we are not consciously aware of. And as we continue to evolve our understanding of ourselves subconsciously, or bringing conscious awareness on our subconscious, we also realize that we can change the associations of subconscious interpretations or perspectives and reality to shape our experience. Now, a paradigm also reaffirms itself, very important, reaffirms itself as our interpretations of people, environment, circumstance, and information. In other words, the outer world. A paradigm creates our experience with the outer world, which represent people, environment, circumstance, and information. Our goal is to evolve our paradigm and bring it into alignment. Otherwise, we could look at this also as self-image with what we desire to create. In other words, be the reflection that we want to see in our experience with people, environment, circumstance, and information. So here's a key reflection that you heard me bring up in the last video, and we'll discuss it again. It's a Neville Goddard quote, and it goes, "What is seen is made out of things that do not appear. Faith does not give reality to things that are not seen. It is loyalty to reality that makes things appear." Okay, loyalty to reality, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And he also says, "Can I see the facts the world sees and still believe in the unseen state?" In other words, not to deny the facts, but also believe in your unseen state. Because if you can remain loyal to the unseen state in some way, he says, I will get confirmation of it. In other words, we'll start to see the outer world reflect the unseen state. Proof, circumstances, information being interpreted from the perspective of the state that we assume. Now, the paradigm is deeper than that. It's a subconscious accumulation of interpretations of the different experiences that we have or the information that presents itself from the outer world and our interpretation of it. And in order to change or evolve the paradigm, we have to remember that one of the key ways to evolve the paradigm is to further affirm the state that we desire to see. That means to evolve our perspectives based on what shows up, to see it as affirmative and in contribution with what we desire to create. Now, one of the things that can help us with this is a concept that I've learned from the Kabbalion, which I recommend that you study and probably heard me mention many times. Paradigm is revealed through polarity, okay, attention and reactivity, otherwise known as loyalty to reality. What we put our attention on, what we react to, reveals our loyalty to the interpretation of the five sensory data, how we interpret it. So let's get a little deeper into this. The thermometer shows many degrees of temperature, the lowest pole being cold and the highest heat. Between these two poles are many degrees of hot or cold. Call them either and you are equally correct. The higher of the 2 degrees is always warmer, while the lower is always colder. There is no absolute standard. All is a matter of degree, the Kybalion. The idea behind this is that there are varying degrees of interpretation from 2 polarities, take love and hate, that we can assign to the different experiences that we have and interactions with people, environment, circumstance, and information. And most of that is assigned via our paradigm, based on the information that we have taken in from our past, which has formed the paradigm. To evolve past the paradigm, we first have to understand that we are assigning nuanced degree of interpretation between a spectrum onto what we are experiencing to reveal about ourselves, or more accurately put, reveal where our attention is going based on our reactivity. Reactivity means recreating from the past paradigm. Now that stated, this gives us an enormous amount of understanding and reflection, cause and effect reflection data about ourselves, so we can take this information and evolve our paradigm. Now, I'm going to get into evolving the paradigm in the third part of this video, but that's one of the key things we want to remember. There's only varying degrees between. You have the power to choose rather than allow yourself to react to something in the outer world that polarizes you. But however, it is not the outer world thing that polarizes you, but it's the meaning from within, a lot of times subconsciously stored in the paradigm. A knowledge of the existence of this great hermetic principle will enable the student to better understand his own mental states and those of other people. He will see that these states are all a matter of degree, and seeing thus, he will be able to raise or lower the vibration at will to change his mental poles and thus be master of his mental states instead of being their servant and slave. Now, this is referred to, more accurately put, is if you are finding yourself being reactive or your attention is going in a certain direction in the outer world in which you experience reactivity or negative emotion. And reactivity doesn't necessarily have to mean negative emotion. It could be reactivity to the positive. But let's say you are experiencing reactivity to what you do not desire to experience, in which you call reactivity to negative, then the change happens within. We evolve our perspective around it, and we affirm it till it becomes part of our paradigm, and we'll find ourselves not reacting the same way to the same information, thus choosing consciously in the beginning and then allowing it to internalize as subconscious paradigm to automatically experience reality from that perspective of how you choose to experience it. And let's talk about how we can do this by, as Neville puts it, remaining loyal to the unseen state for confirmation, or evolving past the current paradigm. 4 important elements. So thinking the same way can result in thinking harder the same way. So the idea behind this is that the paradigm is recreating itself as the experience in reality. And as a result of trying harder, we are still applying force in the world within to use the same way of thinking, just more of it, to try to create results. And while this may work, we're looking at this from a totally different perspective. The idea is that if we choose a different paradigm or evolve our paradigm, then there'll be a totally different way of thinking, or maybe similar ways of thinking, but there will be different ways of thinking or interpretations or perspectives on what we show up. And as a result of it, we'll choose those ways of thinking and perspective to create reality accordingly. And as a result, we release from trying harder and move more so into evolving ourself within till we see ourselves expressing more what I call flow or autotelic. Autotelic was discussed in the last video, and autotelic is a state where actions and awareness become one. Otherwise, it's also known as divine will, when you feel aligned and you are one with. Now, the steps to become autotelic can be instantaneous through, let's say, a radical paradigm shift, or gradual cause and effect reflection, or a combination of both. But one of the facilitators of it is flow. Flow is your ability to rise up to the challenges that you experience by revealing within yourself the skill and the interpretation of the experiences and affirming it through the experience of overcoming the challenge to further affirm a higher degree of understanding of the nuances between the polarities of whatever it is that you're experiencing, and as a result, changing your paradigm. So as a result of the repetition of being involved with something from a perspective of flow, as in staying committed to creating the success or the business success or whatever it is that you desire and experiencing it from a place of flow, your paradigm also changes. It is a form of repetition of doing the same thing, which is affirmative to the outcome, as in you wouldn't be in flow unless you knew it was possible to create this end result. And as a result of being in flow, you're able to evolve your perspectives, see different perspectives based on what you're experiencing, and as a result, experience the paradigm change within. So in order to do this, we stay open and respond rather than react. Reactivity to the negative is a revelation of subconscious programming from our past. We can cause and effect reflect and reaffirm new programming through subconscious mind audios, self-talk, revision, or any kind of subconscious work, or we can simply choose another state of mind and put ourselves in a situation that is outside of the norm, let's say, act boldly, and then observe as we figure it out during that experience and change the dynamic of the mind from rigidity to fluidity, which really what happens then is we have the ability through changing our mind from rigidity to fluidity to be able to see more degrees between the pools, see more degrees of variation between the nuances, and choose accordingly. So we are stimulated by challenge because challenge reveals. That's one of the reasons why we experience higher states of bliss when we're in flow, because we like the challenge, we enjoy the challenge. And inspiration for decision, if you find yourself stagnated or stuck or indecisive, is found through placing yourself in the unknown, which you can say evolves the paradigm, because the paradigm is looking to recreate reality, biases us to consume the information, the same information, from different perspectives, hardening the paradigm into the grip of facts to affirm itself. Now, this can work to your advantage or your disadvantage, because if the paramount thought is all things are possible and you can achieve what you desire to create, then you're going to find yourself automatically gravitating towards information and different perspectives that affirm it. However, if your paradigm is it's not possible and the world is against you, then you're going to also find yourself gravitating towards information from different perspectives that harden that paradigm into a grip. It's really interpretation within to affirm itself. So, simply put, the first point is to realize that by thinking harder or trying to solve the problem, by trying harder, we further bind ourselves to the paradigm. We want to switch it around into different perspectives by choosing different environments and associating ourselves with different kinds of information that affirms the possibility of how we can create, and then further affirm that through repetition as we start to notice that will stimulate different kinds of information being received from within. I'll talk about that in a moment. So we want to move into a different state of mind and think from there. Different state of mind. Now, simply put, we notice that the paradigm is recreating itself in the experiences that we have in our reality. And as a result of consciously choosing a different environment or doing something differently, perhaps radically different than you've never done before, we'll start to alter the paradigm. Well, because the paradigm then has to create new association with meaning based on the different environment, the different circumstance. And in that process, we can bypass what it's going to affirm as the past programming by complementing that with the mental diet, which is essentially to consume the same information which is empowering from different perspectives, which changes the paradigm, which subconsciously chooses the states. So we can consciously choose the states, and certainly that's one of the aspects of the 21-day mental diet. But we also want to eventually get to a place where we subconsciously choose the state, just as we subconsciously choose our interpretations of the different experiences we have based on our paradigm. So we do this then by moving into a different state of mind, whether you could do it in the mind or do it in the outer world, as in move to a different environment, go and try a different experience, be involved with something that is totally opposite of what you're used to doing, or find yourself around people who have the results that you're looking for, but you haven't been around them. But now that you get around them, you'll start to experience their reality from their perspective, and also notice how you are integrating their principles because you're more open to it, because you're essentially consuming the same information that you desire from different perspectives, which is their perspectives, and then your paradigm will begin to change. And as a result, you'll consciously and subconsciously choose these states of mind. And that's why I really like this paradigm concept, because it really helps complement the 21-day mental diet. And a lot of times it's the result of the 21-day mental diet, the paradigm changing. And that's why I call it more of a mental lifestyle rather than a mental diet. Changing the environment bypasses fear, doubt, and indecision, which can bind us in the current paradigm. So think about this. Our environment, we have many associations with our familiar environment. Could be the place that we live or the places that we go to. We have familiar experiences that are part of the paradigm. And to evolve past the paradigm, we want to bypass fears, doubts, and indecision, which appear to bind us to that current reality or that experience, which may even covertly appear as a positive experience, or I'm comfortable here. But if we're looking to evolve the paradigm, we have to keep this into consideration. In order to bypass the fear, doubt, and indecision, we take a bold step in a different direction, change the environment, do the thing that we want to do, and as a result, start releasing the grip, the psychological grip we have between our paradigm and our experiences in reality. Number 3, intuition guides us into behavioral and environmental change by bypassing overthinking. So one of the things that happens when we're looking to create something is if we are too identified with our paradigm, or if it's a contrarian paradigm, we'll find ourselves overthinking, which can lead to stagnation. Stagnation is a form of affirming the current paradigm. So what we want to do is we want to rely upon our intuition, which is a result of further listening to it, by moving into a different state of mind, because the hunches and inspirations and the signs are always found as soon as you have a desire and you want to express it through a form of creation. After a period of time, perhaps even right away, you'll notice hunches and inspirations to do things differently. This is your intuition breaking you through your existing paradigm and evolving you into another paradigm. And we have to learn to trust it. The good news is, the more you learn to trust it, the more you'll find yourself evolving past different paradigms and being able to choose whatever paradigm you would like to be in to create reality from the perspective of that paradigm. You get better at it with practice. Easiest way to do this is how Neville puts it. What it would be like if it was true. What would you be doing? And do those things. Live that way right now. Now, I can't tell you what these things are. You have to reflect and say, what is the end result? And what would you be doing if it was true right now? As in, if you were in that end result. If it's the successful business, how would you be behaving, carrying yourself? Would you be involved with your day-to-day tasks from a high level of focus and congruence? Would you be actively involved, dealing with the various individuals from a place of joy, bliss, and flow? Will you be excited about meeting new prospects and offering your product and service in a way that serves them? Is this how it would be if it was true when you have that successful business? And observe right now if your actions are incongruent or congruent to that end result. If they're not incongruent, then we remember that we are not affirming that way of being, which is rather affirming a different way of being, which is part of a different paradigm. Now, as we continue to assume that what we desire to create will be brought forth, we'll notice that our intuition will guide us into inspired action, as well as things will begin to change on their own. Now, this is where a person experiences a higher degree of flow. Again, you are now excited by the challenge, and eventually you move into autotelic. It is then said that a person who is autotelic actually has unwavering focus, unwavering lighthearted focus. That's what we want to evolve to. And that's how you know the paradigm is actually in alignment with the outcome that you desire to create. Now, this may involve shifting the perspectives, changing the state, or making a move in the direction which can appear as fearful and scary. But at the same time, we have to remember one important thing that I had learned from Think and Grow Rich. We want to proceed boldly to bypass the doubt. Okay, be excited about proceeding boldly, whatever that means for you, to bypass the doubt. And to find excitement in it, this is not from a place of force. If you experience force in proceeding boldly, it's because the paradigm has created an assumption about what happens if you proceed boldly, that it's from a place of force, that it's stressful. As you begin to continuously evolve through affirming this kind of information, you'll find yourself joyously moving forward boldly because the information that you've been consuming is altering the paradigm, changing the paradigm. You'll find yourself experiencing more flow when you move forward boldly, and eventually you'll move into autotelic, which is also called connection with the intuition or the sixth sense. And Napoleon Hill says, the sixth sense will never function while these three negatives or any of them will remain in your mind. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other two are close at hand. And he's talking about indecision, doubt, and fear. And he puts it really well. He says, indecision is the seedling of fear. Remember this as you read. Indecision crystallizes into doubt. The two blend and become fear. The blending process is often slow. This is one reason why these three enemies are so dangerous. They germinate and grow without their presence being observed. So the idea behind this is to move forward before fear appears to have a grip on you. Okay, appears to have a grip on you. It actually does not. But when you are identified with fear, it could really feel like it does. So we want to do it at a level where we're perhaps maybe at indecision, making the bold move, realizing that this is the gateway or the passageway or the hack, you could say, to alter the paradigm. Addressing things before it gets into doubt and fear. And number 4, we further grow by learning how to receive the answers within. Now, the entire premise of this conversation is really about seeing yourself as the cause of reality, realizing that you have the answers within. And it may have appeared that you have to constantly seek the answers in the outer world, which is usually a result of overthinking, which is usually a result of overly identifying with, automatically through the paradigm, with indecision, doubt, and fear. It causes us to forget that we actually have the answers within. Now, when we look at reality as being consciousness externalized, you'll realize that this information that's being presented to you right now is actually your own consciousness externalizing as this information. And if this speaks to you and if it affirms to you, then it is revealing something about yourself that is either part of your paradigm or something that you choose to be part of your paradigm. Now, one of the things that we'll all agree upon is that we want to learn how to receive the answers from within, trust ourselves more. So we can say this is the universal journey that we're all on, is we want to learn to have a higher degree of empowerment and trust in ourselves within. So as you assume the state, live in the end, which is essentially doing the bold move, even though it's not really bold, it just appears that way based on the paradigm. you are living in the end. You're being as if. And then also realize that as you do it, you awaken the inner voice and intuition within. The sixth sense starts to function. And that's why Napoleon Hill was saying that the sixth sense will never function while these three negatives or any of them will remain in your mind. So we have to remember, if we're identifying with indecision, fear, or doubt, then we're moving into a direction of denying the inner voice conversation. And in order to maintain the inner voice conversation, and I'll speak from experience on this because I've been able to maintain it, that's why I've been releasing a lot of videos on the subject for the last few years, and it continues to evolve in clarity and precision. As I continue to maintain it, it is really based on not allowing indecision to turn into doubt and fear, because I know that will keep the paradigm the way it is. And when I have a vision, what I desire to create, my goal also is to evolve the paradigm to be in alignment, which represents the self-image, the beliefs and assumptions that are accurate thinking towards what I desire to create. So, assuming the state of what you desire to create is easily done by being as if, as in do the thing that you know you have to do. And through the repetition of doing it, you will find information and really hunches and inspirations and inner voice conversation. Watch the video I did on inner voice of discernment, put a link in the description, that will further guide you, and you'll realize that everything you ever needed was within you. Everything that you were looking for was found within you, and this finding it within you externalizes as the completion or the fulfillment in the outer world. The fulfillment starts in the world within and externalizes as the fulfillment in the outer world. And all these videos are designed to help you get there. They are the same thing said from many different perspectives to do the one thing that we intend to do on this journey, which is become the person that is in harmony with the end result. Now, as a result of reflecting upon this information and integrating it in a way that's right for you, whatever shows up for you, I can't tell you what to do. These are elements that I have pulled from my experience and working in this area that I want to share with you because I believe that it will contribute greatly. So remember, in order to change the paradigm, we must, in essence, consume the same kind of information from many different perspectives. And information can be interactions with environment, people, circumstance, and even what we consider to be traditional information, like what you read and what you listen to. Number two, we have to be aware of what we are polarizing to, and one of the ways to release from the grip of reactivity is to realize that there's varying degrees on a spectrum of two poles. And really, where your attention goes and your reactivity is based on where you are governed by your paradigm. And as a result of revealing this, you'll find yourself more understanding about yourself and how you experience reality. And third, we want to remain loyal to the unseen state, and as Neville puts it, for confirmation. This can be done in imagination or in environment. Environment through behavioral change, or imagination by remaining true to it in the imagination till it externalizes as inspired action or outer world circumstances changing in harmony with the inspired action to creating what you desire. Now, the unseen state for confirmation is, again, not denying the outer world facts, but rather looking at it from the paradigm that you choose. And understand that everybody is looking at it from different paradigms. And if you affirm the same paradigm that they're looking at it from, then you might also affirm the same kinds of other assumptions and beliefs that they have. So you want to be able to choose accordingly. And if you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.